Hello and welcome. Today we have an enormous finish to look at. This is probably my last update for this leg, given that tomorrow morning in Europe all boats will have arrived at Cascais. That being said, we are facing the last moment, and it's really interesting to observe the positioning of different boats versus the finish line, and see how much of the prediction we made yesterday have been confirmed or different. So if we look at what happened in the past 24 hours, 24 hours ago when I made my update, Linked and 11th hour had just passed the mark where the rest of the fleet hot on their heels, and we were predicting that there would be a compression at the end right now, essentially at the time of recording, about 6 to 10 hours before the arrival, due to the front slowing down and the boats essentially catching up on the front. The update made by the Ocean Race, which happened, which is the daily fix, they call it, happened roughly when the boats were in this position where Tower and Linked Out were the leaders on the IMOCA fleet, and the leader on the VO65 was still Mirpuri. And but Linked Out, the two leaders on the IMOCA fleet, the one closest to the destination, we were jibing quite a bit and taking position south, according to the analysis provided by the Ocean Race, due to the first boats encountering the first reduction in wind speed at the edge of the front, which is makes sense. I looked at a bit of the speed at the time of jibing, and it seems to be a good analysis, I think. But if we fast forward a little bit more, now we are essentially 12 hours roughly after this update. We see, if we look at the fleet, how much it has catch up and how much compression has happened. This predicts an excellent finish for us, very tight. Interestingly, we see essentially the fleet of essentially 2/3 of the fleet is aligned on that, and follow the line of the front, essentially, a little on the back, because the wind has reduced a bit, so they don't have enough wind speed to progress as fast as the front and continue to be really at the edge. So the front is kind of having a gentler slope, and the wind has reduced a little bit. So let's, in this video, we will analyze what is the positioning of the different boat group. There are, essentially two major group and two major options. This area here is essentially making the options. This is a traffic separation area where cargoes can, north and south travel east or west of this separation zone. So the boats have a choice. The fleets have a choice of taking a northern route over here to Cascais, or a southern route here. And during the day, there was, I follow a forum, there were people debating, and, the opinion of several people were that the southern option is probably more advantageous towards the end of the race, when the angle towards the wind will be better. Essentially, in light wind condition, going very downwind here will be very slow, so we expect to be the southern route to be faster at the end. So let's try to analyze this, analyze the position of the boat, and make some prediction of who may be the winner. I don't think our model can actually predict the winner. It's that tight. And tomorrow morning, for the people in Europe, you'll wake up and probably follow the end of the race if you wake up early enough. So essentially, we have two big groups of boats. That group here is probably targeting a southern option, crossing here all the way to Cascais here, which probably is also the one from 11th hour and Linked Out we see on the routing, although they are more on the center presently, and they have been completely caught up. If you look, VO65, which were quite far back, these two IMOCA, are now probably closer to the destination and closer to at least the southern option than the two IMOCA here. And then we have a group here of boats. Clearly, the two on the front here, Bureau Vallée and Coram l'Épargne, will very probably take the northern route. I suspect Mirpuri may be still hesitant. I suspect they will take the northern route, but my routing, we'll see later, is still predicting a southern route. So on the other hand, we'll discuss that a bit later on why this may be. But it's really, given how close all those boats are and how much little predictability the models are on the edge of the front, there's a bit of coin tossing for the teams, I think. Or, I think there is a lot of coin tossing. Let's try this option. We think it's the best, but predictability is relatively low, I think, at this stage, which is very exciting for us. So I routed several boats or group of boats. Some boats are so close. For example, if you take linked out in blue here, I didn't route 11th hour because they are, 0.5 mile, distance. This means the distance between the two boats is 0.5 miles. So there is no point to route both. So we have Bureau Valley, which is the northernmost boat, which is predicted by the model to take the northern route to be the shortest, which makes sense given its positioning. And we have the Team Childhood, which is the southernmost boat, a VO65 this time, to take clearly the southern route. And we actually see all this pack of boats clearly taking the southern route here. Mirpuri, I looked presently, as you can see, the model predicts that the southern route is still the optimal one. If we look at the most recent update, the time for me to make the routing, the tracker has updated a bit, so it's been 15 minutes, so it's like three opposition update. We see that it's taking for now, a slightly south course. That being said, we will look at discuss a bit how precise this route is. But this gives us a good opportunity to see the lineup of the boats here and how much they converge to Cascais. For now, if Bureau Valley 3 is on the northern option, I think it is reasonable to assume that Coram-l'Épargne will be following suit here, and maybe actually ahead of Bureau Valley because being south and here, it is slightly closer to the destination. Although I believe that right now, yes, Coram-l'Épargne is predicted to be first for now. So that makes sense to me. I hope it is for you too. If we look at the routing, the isochrone and how they evolve, it goes a bit fast because what's remaining of the route of the race is relatively short. But we see that there is even more compaction as we see the boats will enter an area where there is less wind and actually more patchy wind. The direction of the wind is also changing a little bit compared to here, where there is essentially a mostly northerly wind. It will shift slightly west, and so the boats which will go on the northern route will be really trying to do a VMG downwind, which is not as effective as the southern option here, for sure. So here on that, I think the speculation of the optimization of going south is probably correct. That being said, if we look at the overall fleet, the compression is really still will continue, and I'm not sure my model is able to really differentiate them. Essentially, there's a group of boats here, the two on the southernmost, which are two VO65, I believe. Yes, this group are actually of 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this one is an IMOCA, but the three boats here that are VO65 are predicted to arrive at the same time, same minute for me. There is no way for my model to differentiate them. There is an interesting IMOCA here, which is non-foiling, so it's a bit confusing, which I suspect will take the southern route too, because they are so close together here. Now, the linked out and 11th hour in my model are predicted to arrive 10 minutes later. I'm not sure I have the precision, given that I don't have the most the expensive and paid for weather forecast model. And then we have another 20 minutes later for the northern option. That being said, if we look at my map, my map on the coast is a bit crude. I didn't buy the detailed map from Portugal. The website was all in Portuguese. I was a bit lost. I decided not to buy them. But it's not very precise. Moreover, we can see something interesting. The wind is predicted essentially to be mostly northwest, and this is aligned with the essentially the cape here, Cabo de Roca. I would expect, given the shape of the coast, that there will be the northern course will probably have more of a coast effect. They will be closer to the coast, and given the wind direction, they may be having some acceleration. I don't know how it is, how this coast is, but if there is some relief, where there is some if there is some, not maybe hills or mountains there, there's probably some acceleration of the wind, which my model, which is 3, does not account for. And I would expect the racing teams to use the latest, best model, and they probably have access to some more precision. So the northern route, which is slower in my routing, may be actually same or even faster. All that to say, I cannot, at this level of, equalness, everybody is essentially equal, at least all those boats here, I candidate for the honor of the racing line, of the honor of the line. Of course, I repeat that both, IMOCA and VO65, there will be a winner in each class. They don't have sail on the same class. However, I find surprising how strongly the VO65 have caught up to the IMOCA at the end of the race. I was not expecting them to make such a difference as soon as the wind slowed down. They have also a bit more length and a bit more, they're a bit more powerful. They still have decent wind, right? They have 20 knots according to that weather forecast here. Presently in my model, they should have something similar. A little less. My model, which is updated and probably more precise than what the tracker says, which says that they are about 15 knots of wind. But I would say, given the wind direction and the wind force, they should be able to foil. Seems that they are not making such a difference versus the VO65. It's possible also that the wind is very bumpy and changing a lot, so maybe they cannot really foil efficiently. So that's really interesting. And on that, I think this will be something to follow. They will arrive during my night, so please enjoy if you are in Europe or very west coast, on the west coast of US, you will be able to follow. On that, I will wish you fair winds and following seas, and see you soon.